Ever since the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi back in December of 2017, we've seen this great divide between the Star Wars community and the entire Star Wars fandom, and since then, there's been a sharp decline in the quality of Star Wars and how fans actually perceive the franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one exciting aspect of the future of Star Wars is the fact that we have less of Kathleen Kennedy's input on the Star Wars projects in the early development phase. That, of course, means that she is going to only be involved with the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV show and the animated TV series that's currently untitled. Besides that, it's everything involved with Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, George Lucas, and others that's really going to steer Star Wars in the right direction. Now, on top of all this, we do know that the fourth Star Wars trilogy is going to be their main focus, as well as the new universe in general. That's really going to be Bob Chapek and Bob Iger's job right now, as we go throughout the rest of this year of 2020 into next year of 2021, which is really going to be a very important year as it's going to truly set up this new Star Wars universe. Now, of course, it's all going to start with The Mandalorian Season 2 this October, which really is going to be a big deal because it's going to transfer all of the Clone Wars characters into the form of live action. So, with that being said, of course, we do know that The Last Jedi was a highly criticized movie based on what Rian Johnson did with Luke Skywalker, and even Mark Hamill, as the actor of Luke Skywalker, even had a lot of input on what Rian Johnson did to Star Wars before in the past. Now, with that being said, this is where things begin to get very intriguing between Johnson and Mark Hamill, where now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are currently focused on their new Star Wars universe, as well as their new Star Wars trilogy of films. Now, it's explained that both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are hard at work on developing a plan to reunite the Star Wars fans around the world in order to create a better and brighter future for the Star Wars fandom. Now, it's explained that many changes are being made to Lucasfilm behind the scenes and how they handle Star Wars. Now, it's noted that during and after the premiere, many of the Star Wars creators and actors were interviewed about their experience with Star Wars, to the point where actor Mark Hamill eventually talked about his expression with The Last Jedi. It's explained that at one point in time, Mark Hamill apologized to fans, saying that he was sorry for anything he said negative about director Rian Johnson and his take on the movie, and how it only stirred up a ton of confusion about what he, Mark Hamill, thought about the movie. Mark Hamill further stated that he was sorry for the negative expressions he had with Rian Johnson's take on Luke Skywalker and how he handled the character of Luke in The Last Jedi. Now, further, it's noted that Mark Hamill felt bad for the community after what he said about Star Wars The Last Jedi and more. Now, once again, I don't really think that this is a true apology by actor Mark Hamill. I really don't believe that's exactly what he believes or what he means to say. There's something about me, there's some gut feeling that I do have, is that Disney caught up to Mark Hamill and told him to, really retract his statements on how he felt about Rian Johnson and The Last Jedi, because it was only making things worse and it was really growing the backlash. Even 2 years after the release of The Last Jedi, it was still making things worse. And obviously we do know that Disney wants to protect their property and they want to protect Star Wars, and I understand that, but at the same exact time, The Last Jedi was a total failure. It was irresponsible. I don't know what Disney was thinking about letting Kathleen Kennedy give Rian Johnson full creative control over this new Star Wars film at the time, back in 2017. I don't know what in the world that they were thinking, but Mark Hamill, I believe, fully meant what he said right around when The Last Jedi was being released, about what he thought about the film, what he thought about the character of Luke, how he did not agree with Rian Johnson. Essentially, Mark Hamill was sorry that he stirred up a lot of negativity within the Star Wars fan base, and feels that, I guess, that maybe he was the one responsible for the backlash or the failure of The Last Jedi, where in reality it wasn't his fault at all. Really, it was just Rian Johnson's take on Star Wars and how he wrote the character of Luke and how he ultimately treated the overall story, right? So that's the thing about, Rian Johnson, is that Mark Hamill tried to pressure Johnson, and Mark Hamill even talked about this before, kept on trying to pressure him to keep the character of Luke alive. And Rian Johnson disagreed with that. He didn't want that to be a thing in his movie. He wanted to kill off Luke right then and there in his movie. I don't know about you, but I think that Luke's death would have been more proper at the very end of the sequel trilogy,
where it's pretty much a nice close off to the Skywalker saga. It would have been more fitting. I think that they could have done something similar to the way he went, except saving it for the very end. To me, I think that would have been more proper because it would have given Luke more screen time while he was alive, and it also would have properly actually structured the sequel trilogy a little bit better, in my opinion. So with that being said, of course, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.